Welcome back to Modern Homestead Alaska. Today, we, as part of the pantry series, are going to be filling the baking portion of my pantry. I am so overly excited about this portion. Not only is it one of my favorite things to do, it is also my daughter's absolute favorite part of the homesteading life is actually baking. So her and I are going to do it together. However, I do believe that as a mother, as a wife, that this is one of the areas that helps me beat inflation no matter what is going on. By having a fully stocked baking section, I can make from scratch the same treats that I would buy for my family otherwise, save my family money, make it better, make it more delicious for not a lot of money. We're gonna go beat inflation together. So, are you ready? Let's get into the video. Welcome to our vlog. If you're new around here, we're the Milnes family. We just moved to Alaska in July. We're building a modern homestead outside of Wasilla, Alaska. That's my awesome husband, Aaron. I am Jessica, a stay-at-home wife and mom, and our second son, Caleb, decided to come with us, along with our daughter, Cody Ann, and the youngest of our family, Wyatt. We brought our two dogs, Tipper and Daisy, and got a new addition, the Alaska dog, Roberto. Okay, baking not only in my kitchen has its whole own section, it also has an entire section in my pantry. Baking, unlike seasoning and spice section that we've talked about, or the most basic, so in the middle I have pastas, grains, and rice and beans. They are there. In this section right behind me is all baking supplies, or it will be when we go shopping together and fill this portion. I utilize a couple of different stores and areas to fill my baking section. So Azure, of course. If you want to know how Azure's website works from start to finish, I'll include that video in the description box below. I'm going to use Azure again today to fill part of this, and then we're going to use Walmart or your local grocery store, or sometimes I even have to use Amazon in order to get things for the baking section. So let's talk about what is in this section, or what I consider baking, and you may consider some of these things to go in different portions of your pantry, and that is fine. Like always, store and keep the items together that make the most sense to you. Who cares where I would look for it in your pantry? What matters is you're cooking out of your pantry, so where would you look for it in your pantry? So some of the things I store here are the baking powders or the leavening agents. So baking powder, arrowroot powder, baking soda, some of the thickening agents like cornstarch. I know that you make gravies and stuff like that with it, but all of that goes here. Then I have the white chocolate chips and some empty jars. I have semi-sweet. I have the dark chocolate stuff, so whether it's dark cocoa and regular cocoa, so this would be dark chocolates. I store nuts in this portion. So an overflow of nuts I actually store in the freezer, but nuts that we're going to get to fairly quickly. My husband also snacks on these like crazy, so this is his favorite snack section. He doesn't even need it turned into cookies or whatever. So we do nuts here, the rest are stored in the freezer, and then dried fruit, the rest of this section. So this is some canned flour that I have, empty jars that we're gonna fill up today, some powdered sugar, some marshmallows, and then I keep drink mixes in this section only because I have no idea where else they should go, and it makes sense to me. So everything from extracts to, let's see, what do we have here? Molasses, corn syrup, honey. We have like some graham cracker for crumbs. We have some cupcake liners and so on. Some of it will end up being kind of packaged and easy things that my kids could make, not something that you couldn't make from scratch or do better from scratch, but we store some of that in this section. And yeah, so this is inside the pantry's baking section. Let's check out the kitchen's baking section before we make our list and head to the store. All right, in my kitchen baking section, these are the things that I would quickly grab out. So I need to refill the sugar. I'll do that from my bulk storage that's down in the basement. I have flour, I have my mixer, but up here I have all sorts of things, everything, salt, vanilla. I keep a tiny bit of yeast out at room temperature. The rest of it I keep in the freezer, but I have found that the bread rises better and faster if it's at room temperature. That's just my opinion. There's no science behind that. So honey, dried fruits, all the different baking soda, baking powder, dates, white chips, the dark chocolate, so on. I like to with the season. So it is right now the end of March going into April, and so Easter's coming up, so I put like some spring cupcake liners and sprinkles up here. That's not necessary, I just think it looks cute and it's fun to use those during the season. Up here is small portion seasoning and spices, so anything that would be pumpkin pie spice or allspice, nutmeg, any of those things that I store in very small quantities. Not because I don't use it frequently, but because when I do use it, I only use a tiny bit of it. And then there's some other spices that I don't use frequently, and I store in small jars, so they're all kept together. So like cayenne pepper is up here, some dill seed, so on. So that's what's up top there. Then I have my big brown sugar and powdered sugar up top as well. This entire section for me is intended for baking so that I can do everything right here from this station. So in the drawer, which is the top one is a mess, I have like the rolling mats, my measuring cups, all this needs taken care of. Let's get you in here. The next is, you know, glass measuring cups and mixing bowls and some bowls for bread to rise in, so on. And then, oh, pie pans and baking pans, so cake pans, some baking dishes, bread pans, and then all of my cookbooks are in this section of my kitchen. Hi, welcome back. So my drawers, of course, need quite a bit of work, but just getting into the house. And right now with everything going on, I'm more concerned with dealing with the pantry than how my top drawer looks. Anyway, this is my baking section. Now let me show you really quick how I build my baking list. We're gonna go online real quick, and I'm gonna show you the two things or websites I use, and then I'm gonna show you my spreadsheet for the first time, how I keep my pantry organized and know what I need to buy. So let's jump into that. So what you see here are the different subsections. So here's a good one, spices. We've already done this video, but this is how I keep track of what I have on hand and what I need. So everything highlighted in yellow was finished. The garlic salt and the everything bagel, I just picked those up at Costco and filled those in my pantry so I can mark those off. Green chilies and jalapenos, I have to order those off of Amazon. But today we are going to work on baking, so I'll start a baking section here and then start listing out everything that I have in the pantry and everything that I desire. And then as I fill those in, I'll highlight them as they're ordered and done in the pantry. Quick glance at Walmart's website. Walmart is going to help me build out my spreadsheet. I go to the baking section, and then I will go through each one of the subsections that Walmart has to offer and build out my shopping list from here. If you're curious how I use Azure to do the same thing and also price compare, I will link the Azure video in the description box below. Okay, Cody and I are on our way to do the first part of the stock up, which is going to be Walmart, and then we'll order from Azure. And we went to the gas station and filled, or attempted to fill up the kids' truck, and the kids' truck took $100 in gas, and it is not even 3/4 of a tank. But we went to our favorite little coffee hut, which if you're ever in Wasilla down the KGB, you would know what that is. The best coffee place in Alaska is at Settlers Bay gas station. So, cheers, huh, Cody? Cheers. Let's go to Walmart.
All right, so we already have this in the cart. These are, hold on.
Are you kidding?
Mom, excuse you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
These are our Better Home Gardens rectangle container sets. They're 4 liters. They're the big size. We're getting 2 of them.
I didn't know the Home Edit was at Walmart. I haven't been to Walmart in like 6 months, no lie. You guys, I just built laundry and pantry, and this is the laundry edit, 5-piece. $30.48. This is cheaper than Lowe's and Target and everywhere. The piece. But the pantry edit has 5 for $30.46. Or it's the multi-purpose edit. What if we just got one of each? Because do you think I need these? I might need this. We'll try it. Okay, Cody and I got all this for the pantry and laundry room organization. So cute. Okay, now let's go get some baking stuff. Okay, so they have some stuff on the end cap, but for the most part, what we need is actually in the baking aisle. Cody, look at all the sprinkles.
I'm not a big sprinkles fan.
I know, but they look so cute. Okay, I'm gonna show you really quick on the Walmart website how I went through and picked out all of my items so I know exactly what I'm getting, but they keep showing items sold out, so we're going to get them ourselves. So, okay, here is what I was talking about in Walmart. I just go off of this list because I'll show you down at the bottom. I started running out of items, or they ran out of stock, and it is true because when I was there, some of these items were not in stock and some of them were. Okay, we were doing sprinkles, but they have these for $3 where you can just get them in any of the rainbow colors. And then they have the buttercream frostings, kind of some rainbows. These are super cute. That's just like straight sprinkled dust. Nice. And then they have cute like cake mixes and so on. If this isn't something you do yourself at Walmart, you could do, look, little football, sports theme, chocolates. I love the uniforms. So, okay, so seriously, we're buying extracts. $5.97 for a small thing of almond. I'm just gonna get one now and check Azure or Costco because literally you're paying $2.99 an ounce. Crazy. Okay, we are done. Headed to the register. Really quick, well, I put everything on this conveyor belt system here at Walmart. I want to say this is the video coming up that has gained some attention for our channel. I do just want to clarify that we didn't do any of this for attention or views. We, as you can see from the video, were making a pantry stocking video. So we weren't attempting to get cut off. Regardless of how you think or feel about what Walmart is doing, none of this was on purpose. Cody and I were just filling our favorite part of the pantry.
What's our total right now?
So Cody and I just reached the max total, or the max transactions, and we still have this amount left. So how many transactions are we allowed to have, or items?
2, but the amount varies.
How many items does it let you have?
It varies. I've had people where it's 147. I've had people where it's 200 and something.
So is it the dollar amount that it maxed out at?
No, I don't know why. They never explained it to us.
Okay. So we're at $743, and then we have to split this on a separate transaction.
26.24.
Okay, our second transaction is $136.24. Shutting down Walmart. After I got home, after making the video that I was just talking about a second ago, I washed all of the containers that I had gotten and started doing the decanting process, or filling the containers and getting ready to fully stock the pantry. To save time on this video though, if you'd like to know exactly what I got at Walmart that got me shut off, I will link that video in the description box, so check that out. I don't often buy items like the Bisquick or the muffin mixes that you see. However, I do like to have a few of them in the pantry for quick things that the kids themselves, even the boys, get in there and they will make biscuits or they will make themselves some muffins, whereas they wouldn't attempt necessarily to fully make something like that from scratch. And it's important to me that I have things in the house that everyone can join in making. The old-fashioned rolled oats are a pretty major staple in our house, so we get them in 50-pound bags from Azure. We use a ton of them, not only for breakfast items, but also in baking. We use them in meatloaf and meatballs, different sorts of recipes throughout the kitchen. These are the cereals that we actually got in the Costco Haul. If you're interested in the Costco Haul, I can link that in the description box below. I hit my brick wall after this and headed off to bed, and we'll pick up the next morning. Good morning. It is partway through the video and the next day, so I am getting ready to put everything in the pantry, do some decanting, lots of fun stuff. But I just wanted to say, like, midway through, I'm exhausted from yesterday. You know, I did a whole Costco haul a little while ago and came home and processed all the meat and was able to do anything, but I think it was emotionally exhausting because of the fear factor. And this morning, this is like my weird blurb in the middle of all of it. This morning I got up and said, I'm not gonna be exhausted, I'm not gonna be tired, because I'm not gonna live in fear. I will be the Proverbs 31 woman, verse 14. I am the merchant ship who brings food from afar. Like, it's my job to put these things in my home. That is the role that I am in our family and that I will play in this family. And I will find food for my family. I'll stock my pantry as best as I can without being unkind, because Proverbs 31 woman also reaches out her hand to the poor and the needy, and I will care for others as I care for my home. So today, let's finish this pantry. Let's get all the baking stuff put away and enjoy what we were doing in the first place and enjoy it for the rest of the video. Okay, so where I'm beginning today is right there. My coffee is percolating. I'm going to make myself a fancy cup of coffee, and I have stuff everywhere. I did the dishes of containers that I'm not currently using, but I have a use for these, and I wanted to show you, when you're decanting, most of the time, this one had dark chocolate chips in it, and they're kind of stuck to the sides a little bit. Maybe they were set someplace too warm. So I scrubbed that off. I scrubbed the inside and the label off of it, the whole 9 yards, and we'll either reuse that jar, because it's totally fine to reuse once it's dry, or I'll use a new jar. But when you're doing these things, guys, wash your jars out, especially anything that likes bugs or that bugs like, anything that can leave a residue behind, anything that has some milk in it, because milk products don't last very long in your long-term pantry. So any of those things, you need to wash the container. So when you're putting that fresh product in it, then it's clean. Sometimes you'll see me add it onto another product. Well, I know the age of that product, so I'm not concerned. So when you're watching me think, she knows what she's doing, she knows what was already in there. This is not willy-nilly for me. But don't reuse canisters that have not been washed, and whatever was in there for a long time. So that's it. That's my tidbit. Let's now start decanting. I went ahead and included this part in the video, even though I had kind of thought maybe it didn't belong or I shouldn't. But I wanted you to know kind of the headspace that I was in after that Walmart fiasco, if you will. And I've gained several followers because of that video, and I just sort of wanted you to know where I was at and how I was feeling. I did want to mention the upcoming peanuts that I'm about to decant after this cocoa. I saved the containers. I wash them with soap and water. I keep them in the event someone else needs them. And by need them, I mean they have an emergency and they need flour or sugar or rice or something like that. And they are good containers that I could simply fill them with some basic pantry staples and give those away and not have to worry about getting the container back or finding one of my jars. My jars are of great value and they all fit in my pantry perfectly. And I don't like to give those away unless, of course, I had to. So that would be something to consider when decanting, is also having the ability to give some of these items away. As you can imagine at this point, decanting and filling the pantry the way that I have is taxing and takes quite a long time. However, for me, it is the best way and the easiest way. Having like and similar containers in your pantry helps everything fit better. I don't have some big and some small. I have mostly jars and containers of identical size. Therefore, I can actually fit more in my pantry. If you have any questions on why I stock, or what I do with it, leave that in the comment section below, and I will try to answer all the questions I can. And last but not least, if you want to see how this working pantry continues to grow and fill in, as this is actually going to take me quite some time to fully stock this pantry, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell so you get notifications and join our family on this adventure in Alaska, not only stocking a pantry, but putting in a garden, getting animals, and truly living the homestead life to the best of our ability with lots of crazy adventures along the way.
Okay, always best laid plans. Not everything fits exactly, so I hope you're enjoying just watching me try to figure out where everything should go in this pantry, what we still have space for. So I'm going to put the last of like some corn syrup and some stuff up here. I'm gonna show you where we're at, And then in the video for today, even though my Azure order is not in, it won't even process for like another 8 days, and we don't get it for another 2 weeks after that, that sort of stuff. So we're not gonna hold off presenting or publishing this video for that order, but I will show you what I'm ordering from Azure, and later down the road we'll do an unboxing or unveiling of what I got from Azure for this baking side of the pantry. But let's finish putting some stuff in and then take a look where we're at.
Okay, I'm actually combining 2 Azure hauls for this month, but you can see when I showed you my pantry, the clove, the pumpkin pie spice, the allspice, and you see that I have 1 pound or less of those different spices, because even though, again, I may use it frequently, I don't use a lot of it when I do. The dill I didn't get last time, and so I added that in. And then some of the other things going in my baking pantry are going to be the organic dried coconut, dates, sweetened cranberries. I always have honey, and I always order honey. It doesn't expire. Even if it crystallizes, if you heat it up a little, it goes right back. However, I have some molasses, some oils, and some other things going into my baking section. When I get this Azure order, stay tuned to this channel and I will show you what I got.
All right, are you ready? I'm gonna show you where we are for right now. Keep in mind it takes a while with things being out of stock and restrictions and the whole 9 yards. It takes a little bit to fill a pantry like this, but I wanna show you what we got. All right, aside from the puppy who never leaves my side, let's get into the pantry. In this cute little canister, we have the birthday candles. These 3 are empty, so I can still fill in. There's a little extra brown sugar in there. There's some peanuts that need to get ate this week, so I pulled them out separate. Here we have powdered sugar, cornstarch, and arrowroot. So I have those 2 thickening agents. This is all white chocolate, so 2 things of white chocolate chips, and then that is a white chocolate mix, kind of like hot chocolate, but you can use it for baking and several other things. This is regular chocolate or semi-sweet, and then the cocoa in the back is normal semi-sweet. This is all dark, so 2 things of dark hot chocolate, dark cocoa, so that special dark cocoa, I actually prefer it. It's my favorite. And then 1 thing of dark chocolate chips here. I have another up top. And then nuts. So pecans, walnuts. These are regular peanuts, whole almonds back there. We have sweetened dried cranberries. This was full. I've gotten 8. And then raisins, and back there is actually some dried elderberries for making syrup and tinctures. So, flour, marshmallows. Right here is another package of dried cranberries. Behind it is some nuts. We have some dark chocolate. We have some unflavored gelatin. We have more arrowroot powder. So that must have been baking powder down here. These are the different kinds of baking chips. Some more elderberry. These are the mint chips. And then drink mixes behind there. I had to get a step stool. Keep in mind, I'm 5'8", my daughter is 5'10", and all of the boys are over 6 foot tall. So when I have to use a step stool, things are often really high. So some extra of the big marshmallows. My daughter was using this literally yesterday, so when the girls look at that. I did find some almond extract at 3 Bears, which is the Alaska grocery store. This one right here, this 6 fluid ounces, was the same price as this almond extract from Walmart, which is 2. So $5.50 at 3 Bears. So I did find it cheaper, so I grabbed me 2 of them. So these are baker's chocolates right here. So lots of baking things. Cornstarch and a little bit of molasses. When you check out my Azure order, there's a gallon of molasses coming. These are cake mixes that use cream cheese frosting, and these are the cake mixes that use chocolate frosting. Yes, I make a lot of cake from scratch. We also do a lot of these. It's just so easy to throw that together on a Sunday morning, and by Sunday dinner, we have a cake afterwards. I'll get a call. It's my friend's birthday today. We make them a cake immediately. So for just a couple of dollars, you can keep these on hand. And these are things that my daughter and her friends will oftentimes come and make cupcakes, all of that. So I do keep those on hand, even though I know how to make all of it from scratch. My daughter uses this almond bark, especially during Christmas time, but you know, she might want to do some chocolate covered pretzels any time of the year. And then this is Jello and Pudding. So someone asked me recently why so much Jello and pudding. Well, I put a pudding mix into the cake mix and it keeps it super moist. So whatever the cake mix is, so if it's a yellow cake, I put a vanilla pudding in there. If it's a chocolate cake, chocolate pudding, so on. But with Jello, the reason I keep so much of that is I've had an this is a weird story, abscess in my throat before where I couldn't swallow. And some of my kids get strep throat very often. If you are sick, if you are have some sort of illness, you can dehydrate. And like a child will eat Jello when they won't necessarily drink something or whatever, and maybe might have grown out of that stage, but you never know. One of my neighbors or friends, we do make stuff with the Jello, but I do keep quite a bit of it on hand for in the event of someone being sick or an emergency and needing that. So something you can on this side of the pantry, this is where we put those baking mixes, and they're already, the boys have dipped into those. And I'll show you the rest of this pantry when it actually gets finished. Okay, last but not least, I'm gonna close out the video and I'm going to show you what I love. I got these jars at Michael's at the craft store, and they have like really well sealed lids on them. And Cody and her friends filled them up. We have some empty ones back there for the seasons. They were in the wedding section. These were actually cheaper than like the tiny little, I have these little tiny mason jars. These are $6 for 4 of them at Target, and they're $8 for 4 of them at our Walmart. Not a good option. I got 24 of these for 20 bucks. So much cheaper. This is our ice cream and toppings rack. So the kids have already gotten into the strawberries. We had 2 of those. But all sorts of little ice cream toppings, waffle bowls. Back there, whatever's not in the kitchen of the cupcake liners I have there. And a little bit of that extra dark chocolate syrup. But seriously, how cute is this sprinkle section? So up here is jellies that I bake with. So I make like a cream cheese coffee cake a lot, or cookies, those sort of things, and we want like a really good flavored jelly until I finally get to go berry picking this summer here in Alaska. But until we can make our own jams and jellies, I keep these on hand. In the baking section, I keep grape jelly, which is my kid's favorite, with the peanut butter for sandwiches. So as I close out, I just want to say why this section is so important to me, reiterate it to everyone, and why I would stock in these times something so silly as ice cream toppings and sprinkles. And I'm just gonna tell you, if you watch back, I'll link the video in the link of why we do what we do. And the kids and everyone that we're here for, I can honestly tell you, when someone's having a bad day, you can lift a spirit with a cookie or a cake. But above all that, when COVID happened and everything was shut down, my grandmother went into a bit of a depression. She couldn't get the things that she's used to having. So the drink of choice, the candy of choice, and it destroys the morale. So when an emergency happens, when things go south, if you can lift the morale, the spirits, people will get up and move. They'll do things. They pursue life. They don't just lay down and go with the flow. So I'm a big believer in finding the things that will bring joy and happiness and peace to your home. So I encourage you, stock a little bit of these things in your baker's pantry for maybe the little kid down the street who's having a hard time, or a neighbor. I was watching someone recently was making cookies because their neighbor had a death in the family. This gives you that ability and that opportunity to share love and joy and a little bit of peace and some comfort with those around you. So stock your baker's pantry, and I will catch you in the next video.